Welcome everyone to a new podcast. I want to welcome you back because we are here today to welcome two special guests that we have with us today. They just happen to be in town for a family function, and they actually happen to be family as well. So I want to introduce you to our new guests today. We have Steffany and Joel. Joel happens to be my brother. A lot of people think that we look alike, so I mean, you tell us.
I don't know about the hair right now.
Yeah, maybe not in the hair.
He's got the eyes, got the John Wick
nose. Yeah. He definitely has a nicer beard than I do, but whatever. One day I'll have a beard, hopefully. And this is his wife, Steffany, so say hi, Steffany.
Hi, my name is Steffany Velasquez. Do I need to give a little intro?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, cool. So we've been married for 2 years, almost, now. We've known each other maybe a year before that. Not much. Let's see.
A year
and a half, at least a little bit. And
usually it's the guy that remembers, right? Or the girl that remembers, not the guy. So.
Well, it's okay. We go to King Jesus Ministry, and that's pretty much what we do. We're business people and also really involved in the ministry, and obviously we're family, so.
Awesome. So they don't live here, they live in Miami, and we live obviously in the Tampa area. Go Bucks. Today's the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
By the time you see this, the Bucks will have already won, hopefully.
If not, we have to edit this.
Yeah, exactly. So we wanted to bring them in today to interview them about some important things that are important not just to us, but important to their lives as well. And it's ministry, and that's what surrounds our lives. That's what we're part of. That's what we have been doing for years. We've been part of ministry, and so we brought them in because they have a lot of experience doing ministry with King Jesus. And so we brought them in today to interview them for that. So hopefully you guys enjoy all the questions we're going to ask them.
So I want to start because this is Awaken, right? And the whole purpose behind this podcast is for people to understand like what Awaken is. Like how do you stay awakened? Like what does that even mean? So my first question, and I don't know, maybe both of you could answer, or just one of you. What does the word awaken mean in the spiritual world for you?
I guess looking at me. Okay. To awaken for me signifies that you have a perception that goes beyond, the natural, whatever your eyes can see and whatever your senses tell you. That's what awaken means to me. And then once you're at that point of being awakened, you're now looking through the eyes of God. You're seeing, it's never going to be a perfect picture, because we're not perfect like God, but we see in the same realm, in the same way that God sees. So when you're awakened, it's like you see in a different dimension. It's kind of hard to explain it, but you see differently. You see kind of like God sees. Like you see a person and you no longer see them, and maybe they're not dressed very nicely, or they don't have the latest fashion, because God doesn't see it that way. You see them now in the way God sees them. And that's like, you see inside, you see the spiritual realm. And that's what it means for me to be awakened, to be able to perceive those types of things in the spirit.
That's awesome.
That's so good.
That's great. And that's why we wanted to ask that question, because I guess everybody has a different perspective, right? And it's nice to hear it and to understand what does that mean. And my second question, and then Steffany, maybe you can answer this one. How does being awakened look like in your personal life?
So it ties in a lot to what he says. It's being able to see through God's eyes, but also just, it's revelation is what it is. So the way I see it is, we're business people, so it's really tough to say, okay, I'm gonna pray 1 hour every single day, And even though so many people can, and I know early on, in ministry, I was super consistent with that. But then, you get caught up in so much that it's so hard to be consistent with praying 1 hour or praying this. But I think, to me, the way I've stayed in that spirit of revelation, that spirit of being able to see and hear and feel and discern what God really wants to do, is by just acknowledging him in everything. And I remember I heard that in a preaching by Bill Johnson. And he just, he said it very clearly, and it just broke so many paradigms and barriers of what we need to do as Christians and how we have to pray, just to acknowledge God, in everything. I could be driving to an appointment, I can be putting gas, and just acknowledging, God, you can speak in any moment. I don't have to be in a prayer room. I don't have to be in a church. you can speak. And in those moments that we acknowledge God is where we can help change somebody's destiny. Like, you know, we can preach, we can give a word of science, we can like really just minister in every aspect that we're in.
That's great.
That's so good. I was actually reading a verse today that kind of has to do with that in the Passion Translation, and everybody knows this verse. It's pray without ceasing, right? Everyone's heard that verse before in the King James Version, I guess. But I was reading the Passion Translation, and it said, make your life a prayer. And I just, that it jumped out to me even more, because that's kind of like what you were saying. Like, your whole life is a prayer. The way you live, the way you include God in even the small things in your business and the decisions you make, you're constantly connected with God. You're constantly praying. You're constantly there. Because you're right, there are some people who don't have the opportunity, especially with family and kids and everything going on and business. Sometimes it's hard to have that like alone time every single day, and we long for it and we want that to happen, and that's our goal. We strive towards that. But more importantly, I think that it should be coupled with your life, because you can go an hour and pray in your prayer closet and then go out and do whatever you feel like and not include God in your whole day. And I think we've all been there before, but I think including God in your whole life and making your whole life a prayer is much more impactful. So
Definitely.
That's awesome. I like that. I like that. Different perspective, but it's all the same thing. And if I was gonna like say something about it too, I would say if you're constantly speaking to God, you cannot fall asleep if you're talking to him and he's speaking to you and you're listening and he's listening. So there's a conversation throughout the day, then you remain awakened. You are awake at all times. So I think that what you said was what impacted me the most, like acknowledging God wherever you go, and whatever you're doing, you say, God, here I am, and I welcome you, and you're welcome here. And that just, I think that's powerful.
yeah, I think that's the true definition of being woke, right? Because everyone talks about, oh, I'm woke. And I look at them and I'm like, really? Like, I think this is the real definition of being woke. God is literally, you're enveloping God in every area of your life.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
That's good.
So we want to get into some other questions that I think that the audience might be interested in. What is it like traveling with King Jesus Ministries and going on trips, ministry trips with Guillermo Maldonado, Apostle Guillermo Maldonado, and everything that the church involves itself with and all that kind of stuff? And they have experience, and I also have experience, my wife as well, but you guys have heard too much about us already. We want them to share their experience.
Yes, definitely.
So I have some questions for you guys. I know you guys went to Ethiopia recently, right? A year and a half ago, right?
Yeah.
Actually, no, it's in February of 2019.
Yeah.
Okay, so 2 years ago then. Okay, awesome. So I remember I was looking at the pictures, the ones that you guys would upload. I was like, you guys aren't uploading enough pictures, because everyone back home is like,
we're terrible.
We want to know what's going on.
I went back to see, maybe I could put this in the podcast, and then it was like just 3 pictures.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because everyone knows that we all live vicariously through other people's lives. Right? So one of the questions I had here is, what made you say, I want to go to Ethiopia?
I mean, it could have been Ethiopia. It could have been anywhere. I think it's just the fact that you're going somewhere to minister. Like, it's just, it's insane to me. To me, it's, I mean, him, you know, ever since I met him, and I'm sure even before that, that's always been his heart, you know, nations, going. It didn't matter where it was, you know, and for me, it's always been the same. It took me a while to get there, I'm not gonna lie, because I love, you know, AC, and I like being comfortable, like, you know.
Of course.
But definitely, it was just like, this is a completely foreign land, you know. It was probably one of the furthest trips I've ever taken, and I actually went twice. So I went once before him, and then we went together in 2019. And the first time I went alone, so I didn't go with any family or anything like that. And I was just, I don't know, I was just excited. I mean, it's such an amazing experience. I mean, I can go deep into it, but I mean, why would you say no to my question? You know what I mean? What would make you say no, like, at that point?
How long have you been serving with the ministry?
Me, I've been there for 15 years. So I've been there for a little bit. Yeah, we're pretty much raised there, but serving. I mean, I did a little bit of, you know, mentoring, House of Peace, and all that vision for a while. But then traveling, it was probably like a few years ago, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
That's awesome.
What about you?
Well, like Stephanie was saying, I've always had a desire and a passion to reach people in other nations. Nations is it's been a big part of my inner calling, I guess you would say. It's something that really makes me passionate, is to see God move in other cultures and other nations and languages, and it's just a beautiful thing to see how God moves in a setting and culture that's different from what you're used to. I love to travel, period, and then to be able to travel while experiencing a move of God, in that country, it's amazing. And to be given the opportunity to share what God has given you and to impart what God has given and done into you to other people, to people maybe less fortunate economically speaking, or something like that, and maybe another culture where they have different traditions, in another country where maybe they haven't been exposed to the gospel as much as we have, to be able to impart what we unfortunately sometimes take advantage of or don't realize we've been blessed in, to be able to share that with those people. It's just amazing. So when that opportunity came and we were able to go, and we've been on a couple of trips with the Apostle, it's just, you have to jump at that opportunity. And, the Apostle also asked us, if we were available to go, because, he knows our heart and he knows we would like to serve. So it's just an amazing opportunity, even if you're not in that particular ministry, wherever you are, to be able to serve God, to be able to impart what you've received into another culture, into another people, into another, completely different atmosphere. It's amazing. It really is. And it's a blessing that, I hope to be able to do and have for many more years and many more opportunities. It's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that changes you, because I could say that as I travel with the Apostle as well, like I never imagined I was gonna do that ever. Like that was never part of. Like I just never. Like it just the opportunity came, and through connection, through being there, through serving, and I remember my first mission trip when I came back. I was just totally changed. And from there on, like I don't care where I go, as long as I could go and be, an instrument so that God can use and share with others the love of God is priceless.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've definitely been on a couple trips. I went to India a few years ago, and that was amazing. I mean, again, it impacts your life in a way that you've never. I mean, I've been on mission trips before, and this was just different. And it has to do with the vision of the ministry and where they're at and what they want to do in these countries, because they're not just going to put a good face, or they're not going for any other purpose but just to impact lives and bring people to Jesus and spread the gospel. And that's really what it's all about. And on top of that, they meet the need as well, which I think is so important. And I think that's biblical. The Bible says that it's pointless for you to just go and say something and not meet people's need, right? It's so important to actually meet their need first. Do you think how much more receptive will they be if you go and meet their need? So I love that there are, and this is not the only ministry that's doing it, lots of other ministries are doing it, and we're just a small part of this global movement of people that are going out and reaching the lost. So I think that's awesome. So let's talk about some practical things that happened over there. What was your first thought when you arrived? Like when you landed, was there a culture shock? Was it like, oh my gosh, the people are different, they're more lively than Americans? How was it?
For me, I mean, I was just excited. I'm always excited when I'm on a mission trip, because like you were saying, it is yes about what we can give and what we can meet, but the need of the people, but it's also like you leave changed no matter what. Like whether you minister to 100 people or just to like one person, you leave so marked, like you leave changed no matter what. So, and a little piece of me like stays in every little place that I've been, and I've been a lot. I went to India, I've been to Mexico, I've been to Finland, weird places that you're just like, what? People like live here. But, a little piece of you stays, and it's just, I was just excited, because I had already went on a few mission trips at that point. So this, that's why I went twice.
Exactly.
Well, for me, my first, I guess, reaction or thought when I got there was, I was stoked to be, in Africa, in Ethiopia. I was just stoked. And then, then I just started seeing different people and just, it's the sights, the smells, the tastes, everything that sensory overload, and I love it because I love traveling, period, but to be there, the first thought was wow, I'm actually here. And then you get a little nervous because you're like, well, I'm not here just on vacation. I'm not just going to go to see the sights and whatnot. I actually have to serve and do my part, so that whoever's out there expecting me to minister to them is going to receive their miracles and receive their blessing, whatever it is that they're asking God and expecting God to do in them or with them. They're expecting it, and I'm kind of in charge and responsible for delivering it. So you get that excitement, but you also get that little bit of like, oh, wait a minute, like I'm not here to relax. I actually need to do something. I have a call. I have to work.
There's a weight of responsibility. For sure.
There's definitely a weight of responsibility.
And then obviously you're waking up at 5 a.m. for morning prayer every day. And so it's rough. And half of the people that are on the trip are fasting in the mornings or whatnot. Some people fast before, so it's like you're working. You're there to work. Tell us about the food though. Like, what was the food like? Because I know that you like to try different kinds of food. I'm not sure if you do, but I know that he likes to try. I love trying different kinds of food. I would not go to a different country and not try the food. I would never do that. So I know. Tell us about it.
It's different. One thing I do want to say though, it's the first time I went, compared to the second time that I went, it was really cool because we got to go back and see like people that served with us the first time or helped us the first time, and then you see like their life change like a full year later, and you're like, whoa, like like it's so much changed. And the reason why I say that is because they took us to different places to like eat and try new things. There was a few dishes that I just said no because it was like
why though?
It was like raw. They eat like it's like a raw meat, so it's like completely like rare raw. It's like carne molida type of looking.
So when they ask you like, how do you want to cook? It's like raw.
Yeah, no, they don't ask you to cook it. They just give it to you.
This is how it is.
And you pick at it, and everybody's picking at it with it. I mean, COVID rules before would have like passed out, but everybody's just picking at it with their hands. And I remember one of the team members that went with us. I was like, I don't think you should try that, but it's on you. And he tried it, and he got real sick.
Oh man, I bet.
He got
his stomach wasn't prepared for that. So.
But everything else was good. Like the coffee there was the best coffee I've ever had in my life.
Well, historically, coffee comes from Ethiopia.
It
was. I mean, you should have seen his luggage on the way back. We dumped like all of our clothes and gave it to people, and then just like filled it with coffee.
The food was definitely an interesting experience. And I'm the kind of person that I'll go and I will try, and I don't care. But I kind of on the back of my mind, she does. I don't care. If I get sick, I get sick. But at the back of my mind, I can't get sick because I have to serve and help and do something. I'm not here to relax and stay in a hospital in my hotel room for 5 days. So, I'm kind of like being a little cautious, and all these stories I keep hearing of people who are getting sick. I was like, I don't really care, but, I got to be responsible at the same time. So let me just kind of hold off.
But the food was good.
The food was good.
Coffee was good.
And one of the things that we did is across the hotel, there's this little, it's like a market, and it's like there's a freeway, and under the freeway, there's this little. It was like a little door in the wall. Like I don't know how they put that in under the freeway pilings or whatever. But there's a little place there, and it's like a tea room. And we went in, and I wanted to try it. And she was like, "Are you sure?" She didn't want me to go.
I was super cautious.
Yeah, because the water and all that.
And obviously, and we had like a almost 30-hour travel time back. So I was like, I don't really want to be like early on the plane.
I wanted to experience it, so we went in.
Really cool,
and we were sitting down with like the locals, and like they sit in like just like a row of chairs, and the servers come. They just bring you the little taste of tea. It's like I forget what flavor it was, but going around and the water's, the local water.
The water's literally coming out of like this one hole in a concrete, and you just see water like pouring, and then they're just like
from right there.
Maybe it's from one of the local rivers. And it's directly to
I really hope.
But I mean, it's I do it out of respect also, because I don't want to bash their culture and the way their country is. We're fortunate to live in pretty much the economically the best country in the world, but you can't go to those countries and always be like, well, ours is better, our way's better, our way's better. No, I like to go and put my faith in God, be like, God, I'm here to be part of the people, so kind of protect me, protect my stomach. And we did it, and it was a great experience. We started talking to some people that were there. This guy started talking to us, telling us the culture and the history of the city and of Ethiopia, and it was great. He knew a lot about the history and everything, and he was talking. He was very friendly. And back on the coffee note, where we went to this town called Arba Minch. It's out near one of the preserves, the wildlife preserves. It's right on it. It overlooks on this mountain. It's overlooking the plains and overlooking the lakes. And she had told me about the coffee. So what happened is the group left. There's a little story. The group left. We were staying at the nice hotel, not at the lodge. We were staying at the nice hotel.
Typical Joel. Anywhere we go, there's always some.
I was not going halfway around the world, going into Africa, going to this town, 8 hours away from the capital.
This was after like the whole like
everything was
mission and stuff like that. So
you had some downtime.
Just in case we have like people watching, this was after.
We had the whole getting everybody together so that they can get on the flights to leave. And I knew they were calling me, and I was like, I am not leaving Africa without experiencing this coffee. And I'd already had really good coffee in other places, but a few people had mentioned the coffee there, especially her. And I was like, I'm not leaving. So I kind of hid. Everybody left on the buses and everything.
Where's Joel? I'm like, he's back there.
Like, oh, he's on the other bus. He's on the other bus or whatever. I kind of like waited until everybody to leave. And then once they left, I got on a little cart. They have little carts that they go there. They're like little golf carts. They're called tuk-tuks. And I went to the lodge, which is not that far. It's like maybe half a mile, if that, down the road. And the lodge is really cool. There's baboons walking all over the place. Supposedly there's warthogs too. I didn't see one, but I did see the baboons. And we're just going around. I did a tour of it, like just walking around. Really cool place. And I finally got to go to they call it a cafeteria, but it's really just like a big tiki hut type of thing, open air, overlooking, it's on top of the mountain, overlooking, the preserve. And, I wanted to try the coffee. So I went there, asked for a coffee, asked for the milk. Literally, I saw the cow tied up outside of the building, right outside. So I know that's the cow that we're milking because I see the pail there. Oh, it's fresh. It's right out of the cow. And literally,
hold on, let me call my cow real quick.
And they bring the coffee in this nice little jar thing, like really cool. They pour, very traditional looking, and then they bring the milk as well. And I pour it, and I'm sitting here at this table right next to this amazing view of the preserve and the lakes and everything. And I just pour it in, I pour the milk in, and I go to taste it, and it's just like the best coffee I have ever had. We've been fortunate to travel to several places, a couple continents and stuff, countries, and to this day I have not tried coffee like that. And it's just, I tell her all the time, I want to go back just to that place. I will literally go there.
So let's go. Where are we going? Let's go. Let's make a trip. Let's go.
Next episode.
Yeah.